Mr. Carmichael.
Mr. Edward.
Welcome back to the podcast, my friend. How you doing?
Not bad, actually, today.
Oh, not bad, but not good.
I'm a wee bit tired this week.
Mm.
There's been a lot going on. We had testing week on Build last week. We also launched the course. My wife has just went back home for a couple of weeks. So yeah, it's been a big couple of weeks, and I'm now starting to feel a wee bit tired.
You're feeling it?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, good to hear, mate. It's good to have you here. I'm just going to answer your question as to how I am before you ask me.
Oh, let me ask
Oh,
you.
please, yeah.
Ed, how you doing?
Oh, Liam, I'm also doing okay. I'm doing good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also tired though.
Mm.
Also been a big few weeks, I would say.
A big few weeks.
Yeah, big month plus. Lots of changes happening here within our team, obviously, which we're going to be talking about today.
Mm-hmm.
Restructuring things, new business plan for next year. We're revisiting a business plan and changing up our direction somewhat. Still on the same path, but just with some more changes. Launched a coaching course. Got a new cycle starting this week.
You've been traveling as well. You're about to travel.
Travel to Bangkok.
Is it tonight or tomorrow?
Down tomorrow morning.
Okay.
To support. We've got, I think, 9 athletes competing there. I'll be doing a little talk on the Sunday about coaching, which I'm excited to do as well. Yeah, it's just a lot.
A lot going on.
Yeah, and I played golf this morning. Thursday mornings is golf with the family. We've been getting the first tee off. Been doing this for maybe 5-6 weeks now. But I always sleep like poo the night before I play golf.
Just thinking about it too much.
Yeah, and it's because I've had a bad night's sleep every night before golf. I now come to nighttime the night before golf, and I'm expecting it, and I'm trying so hard. And it's not like don't think about sleep, because that doesn't work. It's like, okay, I've got to double down on my protocols, but I'm like, Ed, you're only doubling down because you're gonna have a bad night's sleep. Yeah. So it's like I'm in this really toxic sleep cycle right now on a night before golf, and it just kind of messes me up for the day.
And as soon as you get into that, that's your new routine, right? And it's like every time you get into it, shit, this is going to happen again. And the more you think of it, the more chances of it going to happen. Yeah. Was that the first time today that your mum was there as well?
First time mum was there.
Yes, and she posted a nice picture. It was good.
She normally refuses to play the course that we play because you have to walk, and she refuses to walk around a golf course. She likes to be in a golf buggy. So today we managed to get onto a course that has golf buggies, which we can't normally get on. So it's a brand new course. Nice. Today was the first time ever I lost to Ant, and I lost to my
your dad as well.
I've been spanking both of those two the last 4 or 5 rounds. It was not a good day today.
It's not.
My bicep. I'm trying to think of as many excuses as possible. I don't really have any excuses. It's just I just didn't play well. My biceps are incredibly sore from 100 chest to bars
and
the time.
Sled pull.
And then the day before we simulated the high rock sprint, which was sled pulling. My biceps were ruined. So I think I got 2 days worth of DOMs right now, my biceps and my lats, but that's not even an excuse.
It's a nasty combo though. You went sled pull, basically really hard, and then you went 100 chest to bars. That's a lot of movement for the biceps.
It is, absolutely. Liam, you just talked about your wife, Petra, who's part of our team. Has gone back. Gone back home. We haven't disclosed as to why she's gone back home. But I think it must have been about 7 or 8 episodes ago. You had just returned from your summer holiday.
Correct.
And we were reflecting on that trip of yours, and something you said in that episode was that there was some form of calling. That was like something from back home that was pulling you back, back to the UK. You said on that episode, I haven't dug into it yet, but I think there's something I need to dig into. And I had this feeling on that podcast, that I was like, I want to help you find the answer, because clearly you're just scratching the surface, you're not digging. So more questioning, more conversations, and then arrived at the conclusion that it's time for me to go home. So you are going to be leaving Hong Kong in December. Remind me the exact date, please.
So I'll be finishing up work around the 15th of December. So that's here at Coastal, and then I'll probably leave maybe around the 19th. I've got the half marathon, which is on the Sunday, and then I'll probably come another couple of days to the gym, get some training in, and then I'll be off ski.
So where are you going, Liam?
So I'm going back home. So like you just said, that last podcast, or not the last one, maybe 7 or 8 episodes before, I remember getting off that podcast and you were like, Liam, I think you need to do some digging there. Like you got to go and spend some time. And obviously I went and I sat with it and I spent loads of time digging into what was actually going on. And yeah, I arrived at the conclusion that it was maybe time for me to pack up my bags and head home. I think what had happened was I've obviously been traveling for a very long time. I left home, I left Glasgow at the age of 15, moved to France, and then since then I have been going the opposite way of the UK. I've lived in Spain, Italy, Dubai, and then I moved to Hong Kong. So a combination of like 15, not living 15 years in Glasgow, and I went home over the summer and seen my family. Like my sister's just had 2 kids, and yeah, just something changed. Like I'm 33, I just turned 33 last week. And something had changed in my perspective of life. Like I just wanted to be a bit closer to home. Does that mean that I'm going to go home forever? I don't know. Maybe I last 6 months and I fucking hate it. I don't know. But I think we then made the decision, hey, let's try this thing and let's see how it pans out. And so yeah, I'll be leaving at the end of the year. And I've obviously spoke to you and we've went over this many times. Like it was not an easy decision to make. Actually making the decision was the hardest thing because there was so much back and forth. Should we stay? Should we go? Let's stay for another 6 months. Let's stay for another year. And that was honestly what was actually causing the most stress, was actually trying to make the decision. But once we'd made the decision, then I sat down with you and we talked. It was like, oh my God, I feel so much better because I just had this like, all this weight had just been carrying around in my head, on my shoulders, and I didn't really. Maybe in hindsight, I should have maybe opened up and shared with the other team members, but I was a bit apprehensive because I didn't know how it was going to be taken. Right? It's always going to be a challenging conversation, right? So the only person that I was really talking to was my wife and my family back home, and most of the conversations were happening in my head, like 24/7, back and forth. What should we do? And then we made the decision, and it was like, yeah, once I made that decision, it just became a wee bit easier.
What was the thing that pushed you over the edge to help you make that decision? Because I'm sure there's lots of people listening who have been in that position, leaving a job, moving countries, like, basically like uprooting their life and starting new. What was the final thing that helped you, or the final things that helped you make the decision to say, okay, we're going to do this now?
I think it was just looking at where I'm at in life, like currently, and then also looking at where my family are at in life. Like my mum's got some health problems. My grandfather, which is my papa, he's got some health problems. Like they're not getting any younger. And going back over the summer, that was the first time that I'd seen them in 3-4 years, and I'd seen them in a worse state than I'd left them. So going back, that was a bit more challenging, and just sitting with myself and realizing like they've not actually got a lot of time left, and I want to be present. My sister, like I said, she's just had 2 kids, and me growing up, like my uncle played such a prominent figure in my life, and I kind of want to do that for my nephew, my niece and my nephew, So that was kind of the final decision, and then just knowing like it's going to be probably really, really hard, and there's challenge and there's resistance there. But I think leaning into that challenge and leaning into that resistance, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of growth on the other side.
I mean, I think of all the people that I know, and I call you a very close friend, who could, easily bounce back through a challenge like this. Like you'd be the top of my list. But I think that is because you are just at a place in your life where you just have so much belief in who you are as a person. You're able to be authentic every day because you know who that authentic self is, and it's just the environment around you just changing, but at the core, you know who you are, and you're not someone who's going to abandon yourself. And I think you're going to be totally fine. I will just say we're going to miss you a lot. You've been such a prominent role here at Coastal on the process programming and on this podcast, and a friend of mine as well. So you are leaving. You're leaving some not big boots to fill, because I think that's not fair, but you're leaving a big hole will be left for sure, and we're going to miss you.
I think that's actually like something that I've been thinking about a lot, that concept where you talked about like knowing who I am, and there's going to be a lot of changes. So also I've been reflecting on there is going to be massive change happening in my life in the next couple of weeks. Like it's already happened. We've moved apartment to a service department. My wife has left, which we'll probably dig into a bit later. She's away back home, and obviously going to a new country, moving to a new job, new people. And it's like Alex 2.0, which is sitting on the other side of the camera. You guys can't see. It was like, what are you scared about, or what's going to challenge you the most? And I was sitting there. I was like, I think it's for me. It's not what's going to challenge me the most. What I'm excited to do is, like you said, I'm very sure on who I am, so my values, etc. But I'm going to try and be. I need to be, not even try, I need to be very adaptable. I need to be very flexible to everything else that's going to change. Like, I don't know who my workmates, I don't know my new schedule, I don't know where I'm going to live. All those things are going to be constantly changing, probably for the next couple of months going forward. But who I am as a person, I'm going to really try and safeguard that and not let the other things influence that over me. That makes sense.
Do you see that as is that a challenge you look forward to? Like
Yes.
Sorry, a second part to that.
Yeah.
Do you look forward to the challenge of having your authentic self tested and challenged?
Yes, 100%. Because I think it's very easy to do here and now, because this is my routine. Everyone knows me. I've established myself here, but I'm going to a brand new environment, and it's easy to get influenced when you go into a new environment. But I want to make sure that I stay true to who I am and what I believe in.
That's something that I think about a lot. The moment you step out of your comfort zone, and the comfort zone for me is like definitely this company, like these four walls, the people I speak to on calls, whether it's our athletes or our coaches in other gyms, or it's my family, or it's my relationship back home, or her family. Like, those are all my very close friends, all very familiar spaces. But it's when you step out of those, like you're at a new social, social gathering, or you're just mingling with a whole group of people that you don't know, and those are always the big challenges for me. It's like, okay, can I stay true to myself now when there's going to be these pulling forces that are going to challenge me to potentially be someone I'm not, to maybe people please, or be more liked, or be felt, maybe be more popular, or be funnier, fill in the blank.
I think,
so I look forward to challenges.
Sorry to cut you off there. I think that really is the true test.
Yeah.
And like, I think we need to also be allowing ourselves to make the wrong decision and be okay with that, because you are going into a brand new environment. But I think it's trying to close that gap between you maybe doing something that you don't want to do, to that turning into 6 months to 6 days. Does that make sense? Yeah. So that really is a true test.
Okay, Liam, to wrap up your time with us,
yes,
we've got 5 questions for you.
Ooh.
And these 5 questions were crafted by ChatGPT.
Ooh.
So we sat down before, we typed in, the question was, please, I didn't actually put please, I just realized I didn't write please, I feel bad, it's quite rude to ChatGPT, but give me 5 questions to ask someone who is leaving a company on a podcast. Are you ready?
I'm ready, and I've had no time to look. These questions are just coming at me.
And if you don't like a question,
you
send Mr. Poe a message.
I will do.
All right. Question number 1. What were the most rewarding aspects of your time at the company, and what will you miss the most?
Most rewarding aspects, I think, environment. I think that before I came to Hong Kong, I wasn't really sure of who I was as a person. I think this environment has shaped and allowed me to grow personally, professionally, emotionally, mentally, physically, all of the things. It's happened here at Coastal. And why has that happened? Like, I think it's just the environment that we've created. Like, we work very hard. Like, we enjoy to put ourselves out there. We enjoy throwing ourselves in the deep end. We enjoy to have 5 things happening at the same time, and it feels like sometimes you're juggling, but I feel there's a lot of growth there. I think what we also do very well is, and what's challenged me, is definitely team meetings. So team meetings, not when we're talking about like schedules and stuff. When we have team meetings, at the end, we generally have a book club. So book club can be a podcast, it can be an article, it can be a YouTube video, it can be a TED Talk. And this just really goes back to the concept of trying to develop the person emotionally. So going back to the concept that we talked about the last time in the podcast, person before coach. Now, I think before I arrived here, I was a pretty good coach, I think. But I wasn't quite there as a person just yet. And by me elevating myself as a person, that has just sent my coaching skills and ability through the roof.
When we talk about the development of you as a person, and what are some of the ways You've been here for how long now, Liam?
Like 3 years.
3 years. In 3 years, what are some of the ways that you feel like you've grown and developed the most as a person?
I think just understanding who I am as a person. What are my values? What do I believe in? What do I not believe in? What do I want? What do I not want? These are all things that have really, it's allowed me to here at Coastal. I've really forged that, and I'm really sure on all of those things.
Would you say there's anything where you did like a complete transformation or a complete U-turn on?
I think that I was definitely on my journey when I came here.
Yeah,
like there was a lot of work that I'd done before, but I would say, if we were to look at, I was probably halfway through my journey, right? Now, obviously, the journey never ends, but I had some basic understandings of authenticity, values, kind of knew who I was, but I didn't really have a voice. I knew who I was, but I didn't have the confidence to say who I was. So they're two very different things. So I guess coming here, it was like just gaining that confidence. Is like, shit, actually, these guys, I believe in myself, but these guys believe in me. Like, you guys have helped me. Like we always say, the greatest gift that you can ever give someone is actually believing in them. Because like not a lot of people actually believe in themselves, but once they see other people believing in them and they're like, yeah, Liam, you can do that. Why would you not do that? Oh shit, I can do that. And it's like just pushing that, going back to the whole challenge thing, right? Just giving that person a challenge that's just right outside their comfort zone. And that's what you guys have done with me. And I feel like I have only like gotten better since that idea, right?
Yeah, I definitely think your language around like your emotions, your feelings, I guess like the more spiritual side to yourself has evolved so much. Remember when you first arrived, you would, when it would come to like deep conversations or I guess just like sharing, just being vulnerable and sharing what you're thinking, what you're feeling, you would kind of like scratch the surface and then you would stop. And so a part of me wasn't sure if, okay, you know, he's just maybe just not comfortable enough with me to share yet. But I actually felt that you just hadn't done enough digging and exploration yet to really be able to verbalize and share and communicate the things that you're actually feeling and thinking. And now when you talk about feelings and the things you're thinking, like you talk about it like you've been doing it your whole life, right? And I think it's now put you in a position where you can now better serve and help others who are going through kind of like their own healing or self-exploration journey.
Yeah, I think I've just developed language around my feelings. Because like we talked about the other day, it's like sometimes we're feeling all these things, but we just don't know how to actually share. And the more that you share, the more language that you have around it, and the more language you have around it, the more confident you are to share, right?
So the question you haven't answered yet is, what will you miss the most?
I just like reverse engineer. It's just the team. Like honestly, just team environment. I think having you as a mentor, a friend, I think I'm going to miss that a lot. Like you've helped me so much, like support, guidance, everything above as a friend. I think I will definitely miss that. I will miss team training for sure. Just vibes around the gym. Yeah.
Love it. Liam, question 2.
Okay.
Looking back on your experience, what were the biggest challenges that you faced during your tenure?
Biggest challenges I faced. I think taking on build. I think that was a massive challenge that I kind of didn't fully commit myself to initially. Because I was scared. I was scared of the unknown. I was scared that I couldn't do the job, that I wasn't the person for the job. I didn't have the skill set. But then once I seen that actually everyone in this team knows I can do it and believes in me, over time that just allowed me to then express myself through build, and then we rebranded it. And when we rebranded it, that's when I fully committed to it. And I was like, actually, this thing is really fucking cool. Just that whole experience, that was probably the most challenging, but also probably the most rewarding.
What was challenging about it?
Just not believing in myself and thinking it was like a lot of imposter syndrome. I was like, why would anyone want to come to me for training? Like when there's other people out there crushing it that have got 3,000, 4,000, 10,000 people on the program, why is someone going to come to build? That's what was going on in my head, you know. And that's just, again, it just goes back to imposter syndrome and not believing in myself.
I remember having that conversation with you. I remember being at a point myself, and it was funny. Like we were just actually talking about this yesterday. Sat outside after training, and it was, as a business owner, I am kind of like on this constant quest of like seek ways to create something that aligns with the mission and what we're doing. And, often that means that I will be leading that project to start, but at some point, I want to be able to hand that on to the person who can do that thing as good, if not ideally better than me. And I remember starting Build because I saw a gap in the market, and it's program design. I know I'm really good at program design. It's something I love doing, so that wasn't hard. So the programming design part was really easy, but what I just didn't have, having so many things on my plate at the time, just didn't have the energy to really pour into the marketing, the promoting, the giving, the community love. And you're just thinking like, okay, this thing, if we're going to commit to it, this needs someone to like take this thing by the horns and give it the love that I'm maybe giving to things like the Live Perform Compete program. And I remember just looking within the team being like, who would be good for this? And I remember like, Liam is literally perfect for this. Like before coming to Coastal, you were literally doing functional bodybuilding. That was like, you were Mr. Functional Bodybuilder. You're a very smart coach. You're a very intellectual person. You know how to connect with people. You were getting into like social media. Like you were already into social media, but none of us had really figured out how the hell to do it. I think we still haven't figured out how to do it.
We're still struggling there, but we're getting better.
But you already had a presence there as well. And, we had done a lot of professional development on program design. And it was like, I could see that with a bit of mentorship, you would be able to crush that easy. And so I remember pitching it to Izzy first. And I was like, I think I want to give Liam Build. Like, do you think he'd take it? And she was like, I don't know, why don't you just ask it? And I remember just asking. I think we were sat right there on that corner of that table. And I was like, Liam, would you be, I'm thinking that you should take over Build. Would you be interested? I think you'd be really good at it. And you were just like, yeah, I'd like to give it a go. That was basically how I'd like to give it a go. I was like, don't worry, like, I'll mentor you through it. I'll give you everything that I know up until this point. And then you just kind of took it and you just made it 10 times better than it originally was.
But I didn't have the evidence before, right? Because I'd never, obviously I had programmed for individual PTs, but I'd never wrote a group program for online subscribers around the world. So I was like, can I actually do this? Do I have the skill set? Because I'd never done anything like this before, right? And now reflecting back, that was also the most challenging thing, but the most rewarding, because now I have a stack of evidence that I can write a really good group program and people really enjoy it.
And you can bring a community together.
And they can bring a community together.
And you're now a social media whiz.
And so that's all things that I'm able to now take away, and I've got evidence. So the next job that I turn up to, I'll be like, hey guys, I've done this and I've got the skill set for it, and I'm going to be confident in what I'm doing.
Love it. Question 3.
Yeah, that's good, huh?
How has working at this company impacted your professional growth and development?
I think I kind of alluded to that on question number 1, but we'll dig in a bit further. I think this has been, in the past 3 years, I have grown like professionally. I have grown 10-fold, 20-fold. Like it's been, when I look back on the person that arrived here and now looking at the person who's leaving, professionally, completely different. Like obviously before that I came to Hong Kong, I was coaching for about 1.5 years in a CrossFit gym in Dubai. I went through a mentorship program, then I got into the group class, and I was coaching for about 1 year before I came here. So when I came here, like 1 year of experience is not that much. And I came here, and then obviously like now the person I'm leaving as is completely different. So I'd say that would be, that would be
What are some of the areas professionally that you feel like you've grown the most?
Just going back to the whole build thing, like I think that's obviously been massive. Like I said, the most challenging thing that I've done, but also the most rewarding, the course. Like I've now got evidence that hey, we've actually built this course. We can actually create something here. What else? A group class coach. Like I think that I was a really good PT before I came here because that's what I really loved to do. But when I came here, like I knew that was one skill set that I lacked and I needed to get better at that. And I remember sitting outside with you and you were like, oh, what are the things that you want to be learning in the next couple of months just when I arrived? And I was like, I need to get better at group group class coaching, because obviously the level of coaching here compared to the level that I was used to in Dubai was like night and day. So I was like, hey, I need to step up my game here. I was like, Ed, I need help. And obviously I got mentored through the group class mentorship, and I grew massively there. So I'd say, to recap, group class coaching, online programs, and an educational course.
I want to add one more.
Yeah.
Mentorship.
Oh yeah, mentorship for other coaches. Yeah, I forgot about that. Like, that was also very challenging, but also extremely rewarding. Again, reason that it was really challenging because I'd never done it before. I had no evidence, right? I'd been taken through the mentorship program by you, by Al, with the group class stuff, but I'd never actually taken someone else. So I was like, shit, like, again, imposter syndrome. Can I actually do this? Are these coaches actually going to respect me as a coach, the younger coaches? This guy's only been doing X, Y, and Z compared to my peers. Well, you've got Tammy that's been coaching for 10 plus years, Al same, Ant same, you same, and I'm just here and I'm like, hey guys, I'm your new mentor. But obviously that went very well, but that was extremely challenging, a lot of imposter syndrome, just because I'd never done it before.
So I think it's something, let's talk about imposter syndrome quickly here, because something you talked about a lot, and we've been using this language a lot recently. It's just around the idea of like stacking evidence.
Yeah.
It's like, it's very easy to have imposter syndrome when you don't have any evidence. You don't have any proof to say that you can do the thing you're saying you can do well.
Yeah.
But what has allowed you? What are some of the things that you did, coming into these new roles with imposter syndrome, knowing that you didn't have evidence? Like, how did you then go from that person to then, because, from the outside looking in, most people will say that you just look like you just stepped into those roles and you crushed it. Most people would say they didn't see things like imposter syndrome. They didn't see you not feeling like you were able to do what was asked of you. So how did you go about that?
I think specifically talking about the role that I was in with the younger coaches, I was just open with them from the get-go. I was like, hey guys, I've never really done this before. This is going to be a collaborative effort. I'm going to help you, but I need you to help me. So just being very open from the get-go set the tone. It wasn't like I was coming in and being in that authoritarian position where I was like, hey, you need to do X, Y, and Z. It wasn't that. It was like, hey, I've never done this. Let's try and make the best that we can together. And that really helped.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's something that most people are very scared and afraid to do, because they would, that's essentially vulnerability at its best, isn't it? It's basically saying that I don't have all the answers and I need help. And I think a lot of leaders look at themselves in their position and feel that a leader should never be someone who asks for help. We're the person that gives advice and helps others. But ultimately, collaboration is always more powerful than singularity, right? So if you can work together as a team, that's what great leaders do. Like, they empower people to achieve amazing things, but as to how they do that, collaboration is so often at the core of it and working together. Nice. Question 4. Can you share any memorable moments? I hope you can pick at least one, by the way. Can you share any memorable moments or projects that have had a lasting impact on you? Obviously, you talked about build a lot.
Yes.
So let's talk about memorable moments.
The one that just popped into my mind right now is when I snatched my 100 kg PR.
Yes.
That was probably one of the best moments of my life. So good.
It was so easy as well.
It wasn't the snatch was really good, but it was what happened after. Dropped the bar, because I think I'd failed it before. Hit it, dropped the barbell, and obviously we were team training 10, 15. We must have been about...
You're in the PT area, I remember.
I was in the PT area. We were about 8 or 9 coaches on the floor, all doing their own thing. Music's blaring. It was like a Monday morning. If I could get the snatch, drop the barbell, just turn around, and everybody's like, wow! And everyone just ran over and picked me up and stuff. That was probably one of my most memorable moments. So that was training.
I'm just going to pause you there. There's like, when you snatch 100 kg for the first time, I think with snatching, for me, like snatching 60 kilos for the first time, like the first time you put a blue on either side, like unbelievable. And then for me, it was like 80 kg was like the next like huge milestone, a blue and then a green. And then obviously like 100 kg is just, you can just retire from CrossFit.
Yeah,
once you hit 100, you genuinely don't need to CrossFit anymore.
I don't think I've hit it ever again.
So I hit 100 in 2018, I think. So that's like 5 years ago. I then hit it again, maybe like 2 months later at the Asia Championships. I then PR'd to hit 105.
Yes.
And then ever since I hit 105, I think the heaviest snatch I've ever done is like 95.
That's crazy.
Maybe even not. Maybe
Yeah.
even just 90. That
Yeah.
5 years ago.
That's mental.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that
okay. So snatching
snatch.
100 kg. Yeah.
Amazing. So that was training. I think professionally, or not just let's just talk about just general memories from the gym. I think I know the community days for Build. I think that was a huge milestone for me. It was like, not only can I write this really good online program and people are bought in from all over the world, I'm now able to bring people together in person in Hong Kong at Coastal Fitness. That was a huge milestone for me. What else? Snatching. I think course. Like, I know we've already talked about the course, but that course was.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, we've had a whole podcast on this. The course was going for 2 years, and to finally see a finished product out there, and it's not quite out to the world there, but it's like 90% within the affiliates. Like, that was a moment that I will cherish forever. When we were standing, so you can continue after. When we stood on that first call and seen there was like 25 people on it, I was like, oh my God, look what we've done.
That I was gonna jump in and say that call, we had our very first cohort, 25 of our affiliate coaches, and we were here just like presenting the course. It actually gives me like butterflies now, like I can feel it inside, like just how I hadn't really appreciated the fact that we'd gotten to that point, just because we've been working on it for so long and working so hard on it. But also filming our very last video for the course last week. Yeah. So basically, we finished the course essentially ages ago, but then we've been tweaking and making adjustments and just fine tuning. Yeah. And then we basically filmed our very last one. And that's not the very last one forever. We're going to be adding way more videos to the course as we go on. But like actually being in that room for the last time, and probably the last time we're going to be together filming the course, like that very last video being like, holy shit, like we've done it. Like that's it. That's like, cumulatively, think about how many videos like we redid as well. That's got to be like 35 plus hours in that room. That's just filming.
Just filming.
All the other hours are just like hanging on the pull-up bars, talking shit, abusing each other, abusing Al, abusing John Boy before, giving each other shit. Like I'd love to know how many hours have actually been spent in that room, just like with the idea of just creating the course.
Sometimes just staring at a blackboard, like, okay, right, what are we doing today?
Oh yeah, just one more.
Just
one more. Okay, one more.
Yeah.
Now we can do one more. Yeah. Oh mate, I agree. That has been an incredible memory.
I'd say there'd be like big threes that jump out right now.
Funniest moment.
Oh,
what's the time where you've laughed the most?
Fuck. There's been a lot of laughs. I think the one that's coming straight to my head right now is when we were doing professional development downstairs. You know where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
And we were doing.
As soon as we said funny moment, I just thought of Paddy straight away. It's got to be something to do with Paddy.
Paddy. Downstairs, we're doing professional development. I don't know what we're going over. Maybe a clean or a deadlift or an RDL or something.
It's a deadlift.
There's a hinge for sure. So I remember we're all bent over. And we have these cues here when we're controlling the room or commanding, where we're the down, finish. And just our good friend Patrick James, he was panicked because he was the coach doing it and we were all demoing. And he just shouted down, and then everyone looked at him, and then he started to panic, and he's like, "Finish!" It doesn't sound very funny on a podcast, but if you were there, it was a very funny moment.
Yeah, I think Paddy makes a lot of highlights for me in terms of funny moments.
What else? Funny moments.
I always think about myself and Paddy like trying to handstand walk the ramp.
Oh yeah, that was a good.
That always cracks
day.
me up because that memory just popped up on my phone again. Oh mate!
Even just the other day, me trying to run after the sled.
Oh yeah.
So a bit of context. We had done the High Rocks relay. So we've got a team of 4, and you have to choose 2 stations with the relay. And I chose the sled push. Crushed the sled push, but after the sled push, you have to run to the wall and tag your friend. Now, if you've ever done a really heavy sled push, trying to run fairly fast after doesn't happen. So I couldn't bend my legs, right? And I'm trying to run, and that was probably one of my
So basically Liam finishes his last sled push, and we said to simulate like the walk zone or the transition zone, we had to run. That's it. We had to run back to the wall, touch the wall, and then run back and tag the partner. And Liam was tagging me, and as he's like running back from the wall, I don't even know what that was, but it was really really funny. And I remember tagging, and then me setting off my 1K run like around the block.
Yeah.
I'm literally going around the corner, literally laughing out
Hysterics.
loud,
Yeah.
thinking about you and just the state you're in. Then I was envisioning what kind of state you'd be in when I came back in like 4 minutes. And I was thinking, oh, I'd love it if he's still like, you know,
on the floor.
in a heap in the corner, like buckled over against the wall. It's funny. I'm looking forward to doing high rocks, by the way.
Yeah, me too. I think that'll be a good day.
Okay.
Where are we at? This
Question 5.
Last one already.
Last question. Oof. As you move on, this is a nice question from ChatGPT. As you move on to new endeavors, what advice or insights would you like to share with your former colleagues and listeners of this podcast? We'll break it into 2.
Yeah, let's go 2.
What advice would you like to share with your former colleagues?
I think that this, as I've mentioned multiple times before, I think this place is incredibly special. I think that if you are willing to put in the work and you're willing to put yourself out there, you're willing to be vulnerable and you're willing to challenge yourself, this place will only reward you. Now, what I mean by that is you will receive incredible growth professionally, personally, mentally, emotionally, all the way down that list if you're willing to put in the work. I think that you're going to be surrounded by incredible individuals. You're going to be surrounded by, or you are surrounded by, incredible coaches, incredible athletes, and the community here is incredible. I think it's very, very special that what you have created here in Hong Kong, Coastal Fitness, and then just the trajectory that the process programming is going on. Like, it's basically a rocket ship. Like, it's just going places that we can't even fathom just yet, and we've only scratched the surface. That's what I would say.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
If that doesn't make it as a snippet,
let's go 2.0. He's already looking at it.
If it doesn't make it as a snippet, then there's something wrong with the world.
Yeah.
Okay, Liam. If there's a piece of advice, or what advice or insights would you share with listeners of this podcast?
Listeners of this podcast, I would think, what would I share to our listeners?
Your kind of parting words.
I think that this podcast is an incredible platform to have a voice, right? It's an incredible platform to come on and express yourself as a person. And I've been lucky enough to sit across from a very good friend of mine, mentor, and boss. And I've been able to have really good conversations. When I first sat in the room to do the podcast, I was very nervous.
I remember.
But now I really enjoy it. I'm just really grateful to have an opportunity to share my own experience and hoping that can impact or help someone's life in some way, shape or form.
Liam.
Yeah.
This might be our last podcast that we do in this exact studio, at least for a while.
At least for a while.
I always feel that there's certain people that you just have this feeling that your paths are going to cross again,
100%.
Professionally, as well as, you're going to be a part of my kind of family and friendship circle, I think, for the rest of time. One of the questions actually I got asked the other day from one of our affiliate owners was like, Ed, how do you feel about, you're losing, 2 long-serving coaches who've been a part of the company? Like, how do you feel about that? Because he said, he always feels really bummed when he loses someone. I don't know what my exact words were, but it kind of along the lines of, I know when people join this company or join any team, they're not meant to be here forever. We are serving them in some chapter of their life and helping them along their journey, and in return they're serving us in our chapter of our life and helping us along in our journey. And so I will only ever be grateful for that time, however long or however short it has been. And every person leaves a little something behind, like it's a legacy of some sort, that, they made a contribution at a certain amount of time, at a certain period of time. And that has led to us being in the position that we're in today. And we couldn't be here without all those cumulative contributions from every person who's ever been a part of this team. And so actually I have nothing but gratitude for every person that comes here and leaves. I'm just grateful that they chose us and that we were able to, make it something beautiful and something great for both of us. And, with every obstacle, there is always an opportunity.
Yeah.
And so, how can we use this as an opportunity for us to grow, even bigger than where we are now? It doesn't ever mean that it's not hard. And it's probably the hardest part of running a business, I would say, is, I always say people are the hardest part of organizations, but they are also the greatest part of organizations, because when you can do it right, it is like very magical. And the impact that it has into my life, if I just speak selfishly, that I get to have these amazing people like yourself be a part of my life and be a part of this company and contribute to me, not just professionally, but like personally and emotionally and spiritually. It's just such a amazing thing that I get to be able to do with my job. So yeah, I'll be as sad as we all are to see you go, because you've been such a massive contributor and you really drive the culture of this organization. We're all stoked for you on your next adventure. We all can't wait to see where life takes you. We are all sure that you're going to be a part of our lives in some way, shape or form. And, I'm going to have nothing but incredible memories of Mr. Liam Yo-Yo Carmichael.
Thank you.